Welcome to Cord Cutting today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting, including Spectrum's fight with Disney. Spectrum has come out and said that the cable TV model is broken. It needs to change. Now, I fully agree with them that the cable TV model is broken. Not sure I agree with them that and how they want to change it. We'll take a look at that. But they said that they're fully willing to walk away from live TV services. We'll see how that plays out. Roku has a new home screen that's rolling out to everybody. We'll talk about that and give you an early look at it. And how will this all affect ESPN's new streaming service? These new topics and a whole lot more coming up in a quick second. First though, if you want to learn more about these stories, check out the show notes down below and in the first pinned comment. I'll put a link to each story there so you can read about them for yourself and come up with your own opinions. I'll love to hear from you. If you're new here or you've been here a while, consider hitting that subscribe button or hitting that thumbs up. Doing one or both lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, so they recommend our videos to more people, helping us grow. And hopefully we can help you break free from the high cost of cable TV. Now, with that said, let's dive into it, taking a look at the stories from the past weekend now with the long Labor Day weekend. But on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, we said it was going to happen at 8. First they said 5. We reported that they had an extension to 8. And at 8 p.m. it went dark, where all the Disney-owned channels left Spectrum, the second largest cable TV company with over 14 million customers, lost access to ESPN and other Disney-owned channels. Bad timing because it was week 1 of college football. You may have missed it because of that. Spectrum came out on Friday, though, and had a big press event. We were attending it and listened in on it, and they said that cable TV is broken. This model of TV will not work, and they want Disney to agree to massive changes to it, which includes bundling streaming services into packages to give their customers discounted on bundled streaming services, bundling streaming services with some live TV channels. Very similar to how the Now TV from Comcast has Peacock with a collection of live cable channels with that for $20 a month. Spectrum wants to do something similar. They said if Disney does not agree to their demands to change how cable TV works, that they're willing to walk away from Disney and not offer Disney channels. They said, we understand that some people will leave. They think they can build a customer base beyond that. They said they're willing to go so far that they will even go and just offer bundles of streaming services to their internet customers if that's what's needed. Now, a few things here. They did tell their customers, hey, we struck a deal, 30% off of Fubo for 2 months. And of course, they're reminding customers that they can get their free Peacock year. That's not necessarily new like the Fubo deal, but they're just pushing it as a way to fill the void left by Disney content being missing on Spectrum. But very interesting to see how this all plays out. A lot of content being moved around. Spectrum was very clear. Hey, we believe that Disney's streaming services, including Disney Plus and the soon-to-launch ESPN direct-to-consumer streaming option, is hurting cable. They said that when Disney Plus launched, they saw a dramatic drop in the number of people watching the Disney Channel. We've seen that play out in a number of areas. And they say they feel like they're funding the creation of these services that are helping kill their business. So Spectrum is feeding money to Disney. Disney's turning around and building a streaming service that's going to, in the long run, hurt Spectrum. We'll see how this all plays out. Spectrum seems to be really digging in their heels by offering a 2-month discount on Fubo. Kind of feels like they're not going to rush out to this, that they're willing to say, hey, this could be a long fight. We'll see what happens. But get your predictions in now. Do you think Disney will cave and agree to give Spectrum free access for its customers to its streaming services and bundle them, and agree to allow their services to be bundled with smaller packages of TV customers? Will Spectrum cave? Spectrum says Disney's demanding that they put Disney-owned content into more channels and pay even more money for their channels. We'll see how long it goes, but I think this is going to go on for a very long time. That raises the question in our next story up, what does this mean for ESPN's direct-to-consumer? Now, ESPN has ESPN Plus, but ESPN Plus does not include live feeds of ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, etc. This new direct-to-consumer service will, where you pay a flat fee. I'm assuming ESPN Plus will be bundled into it, but then you would also get access to live feeds of ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPNU, probably ACC Network, SEC Network, etc. Now, Disney says that this is more about a time of when it's right to launch it. That they intend to launch this, it's just a question of when. Well, with 14 million customers losing access to it, you can understand why this may be moving it up. Originally reported as maybe 2025 launch date for this new service. Would not surprise me if Spectrum and Disney are unable to reach a deal, that Disney may move up the launch date for that service and launch it. Just say, hey, well, you know what, Spectrum? If you don't want to access our content, we'll just start selling it directly. Could this be the breaking point for cable TV? I think it is. We'll have to watch it very closely. All right, if you are a Roku owner over the Labor Day weekend here in the United States, you may have noticed your user interface change. Your home screen now has a continue watching feature. Instead of a 3x3 grid of apps, it's now a 4x4 grid and more. Now, one of the things that kind of stood out to me, for years, Roku said, hey, we don't have apps. You know, the Netflix app and more, those aren't apps. Those are streaming channels. Those are Roku channels. Well, now they've embraced the name app. The home screen now says apps on it, for a list of where like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, and more is. The Roku channel store is now just the streaming store, whatever they're calling it. They're embracing the name apps, which I think is a great move by Roku because people are used to apps. You know, I always try to explain Roku's like a smartphone, right? You buy a Roku's like an iPhone or an Android. You download the apps you want, and then there's just this grid of apps. You click whatever app you want, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, etc. It's all right there. Trying to explain Roku channels to people versus apps was always a bit confusing to new cord cutters. So I think this was a great move by Roku. I actually like the new home screen as TVs get bigger. Having more apps on the home screen is great. And it has a continue watching row at the very top where you can, for example, if you were watching something on Disney Plus, click on it and instantly launch directly into that stream. Not need to open Disney Plus, not need to select the show and go from there. Not all services support this continue watching. Disney Plus does. For example, though, YouTube TV doesn't. I can't launch directly into a channel from YouTube TV. I was just watching. I reached out to Roku to try to get access or a list of all the services that work with continue watching. Roku declined to comment on that other than to say, like they had previously announced, they're continuing to develop the home screen. So good news if you have it. I have it on all my Roku Sticks and Roku Ultra that I have as I travel. And I'm hearing it's rolling out to Roku TVs and more. Not all Roku owners have this. It seems to be a phased rollout like Roku does with all their OS updates. Just a phased rollout device to device. There's nothing you can do to speed it up. It will appear when it's going to appear, but if you have it, great. If you don't, the only thing you're really missing is that continue watching feature, which I suspect will be very polarizing for some. Some people will love it, some people will hate it. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think of it. All right, let's keep moving along. Amazon will release 2 new Fire TVs apparently this month. Later this month, Amazon has a big device event on September. I want to get you the right date, September 20th, I believe it is. I forget to put it in the story. Later this month, they have a big date. I apologize. Somebody leave me a comment. Here we go. There it is. I didn't scroll down far enough. September 20th. Amazon has a big device event where we expect maybe some new Echoes and new Fire TVs to be announced. Maybe new Fire TV tablets, we'll see. Fire tablets they now call them, I think. The 2 new Fire TV sticks cleared at the FTC recently, as spied by AFTV News. Alex over there does a great job. He used to work on the Fire TV, and once again has returned to run his website. He spied FCC filings that show 2 models, a higher end and a lower end model. I suspect, and he seems to agree from his story, that this would be a new Fire TV Stick 4K Max or some type of equivalent to that. Naming, the name of it may change, and a standard version of the Fire TV Stick 4K. Both of those models have been on sale a lot recently. Amazon has been clearing those out, and it supports the reports here. 1 model will have the Wi-Fi 6, and 1 model will have the Wi-Fi 6E, which is the higher end Wi-Fi standard, the newest model of it, or version. I suspect that we're going to get some type of equivalent new version of the Fire TV Stick 4K Max and some type of equivalent to the Fire TV Stick 4K. 2 new models here. Does this mean the HD version is going away? Maybe. Honestly, right now, I would just get the 4K. The 4K will downgrade to HD if that's all your TV does or if the streaming service is just in HD. And right now, for just a few extra bucks, you can get the 4K version, which means if you ever upgrade your TV, you don't need to go buy a new Fire TV. Just my opinion. If you have an HDMI port, I would get the 4K version. Personal opinion here only. But we'll have full coverage over on the September 20th. We do expect to be getting new Fire TVs, and according to the FCC filing, probably will be 2. Again, we'll have to wait to see what they actually announce. Wouldn't be the first time they snuck one by us and got an FCC filing we all missed, but that's kind of where we're leaning. The Cube was launched last year. Amazon's been doing kind of a new every 2, so I wouldn't expect a Cube this year, but stranger things have happened. All right, local ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC owners are demanding the FCC reclassify the cable live TV services as cable TV companies. Now, this isn't new. They've been doing this for a while, but they filed a new FCC or a letter to the FCC with their argument of why to do this. Basically, they're arguing that live TV services should be treated as cable TV companies, which they want because that would force live TV services like YouTube TV, Fubo, and more to negotiate with each individual owner of local television stations, which means like Nexstar, who's a big pusher of this, could demand more money and get more than they think they would if they, for example, continued under the model, which allows Paramount, for example, to strike a deal with Fubo and more to allow all the CBSs on Fubo at one time. Now, back in the day when live TV services launched, they did this. They went local owner to local owner. Sometimes local owners just own like maybe 10 TV stations nationwide. Sometimes they own hundreds. And going to each one can take time. This will likely result in blackouts and will also force live TV services to pay millions in fees to the FCC that they currently don't have to pay. We'll see how this all plays out, but local television owners are not going to let this go. They're basically demanding the FCC reclassify cable TV services or streaming services as cable TV services, which will give the FCC more control over them, which will mean they'll have to now negotiate with each individual local channel and more. They say this is to protect local news. Of course, a new coalition is formed with Fubo at the core of it, saying no, I mean, local news is easy to get. Look at all these different streaming services. We have local news on all of our services. We got that new CBS deal, which has all the local news there. We're happy to keep local news. We don't need the FCC to get involved in this. We'll keep a close eye on this, but a lot changing there with it. And I'm going to be very interested to see how the FCC rules here. Will the FCC side with locals, or will they say, hey, you know, these rules that cable TV runs on are very different than what's happening in the world of streaming. We need different rules for streaming. We'll see. All right, next story up of the day. There's a new study, or a slightly older study, that says 42% of Americans are paying for subscription services they're not using. How many people here have ever gone through your bank account and suddenly realized that there's a $4.99 fee you're paying for maybe a music service, a video service, maybe it's a food delivery company or some other type of service where you weren't able to pay for it or didn't realize you were paying for it? Well, Rocket Money now has a new app that will automatically scan your bank account and your credit cards and look for subscription services, list all the subscription services, and with a click of a button, help you cancel them all. It's a really great way. Even if you don't want to use Rocket Money, this study really jumped out at me, as I think I'm probably a victim of this. I know way back in the day, I have in the past subscribed to video services, done a free trial, forgot to cancel them and got charged, and then had to go back cancel it after I got charged. So question to you, have you ever been paying for a service you forgot about? If you haven't checked your bank account, maybe it's time to do it. If you want, link in the show notes to this story. There's a link to Rocket Money where you can learn how to check it out. They say for free, you're able to scan your bank account and find all those discounts. All right, last story of the day. Amazon's Freevee over the weekend added 12 new free live channels in partnership with NBC and other providers. If you want to see a full list of all the new channels on Freevee from Amazon, check it out. Link in the show notes. That's it for today. I hope you had a great Labor Day. I'll be back again tomorrow. Take care. Be safe. Have a fantastic day, everybody.